Good morning, my dear children. Welcome back to English class. We'll start with the Bible verse. The Lord is my rock, my fortress, my savior. With this promise, we'll proceed to the lesson. Welcome to our English class. Today, we are going to concentrate on the supplementary reading, The Cat and the Painkiller. The main characters in this story are Becky Thatcher, Tom, Aunt Polly, and Peter. Peter is the cat here. Now, giving an introduction on this supplementary reading, The Cat and the Painkiller is one of the episodes from the novel The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. He is a very mischievous young boy growing up along the Mississippi River with his Aunt Polly and his brother Sid. He is up to all sorts of mischief but somehow manages to escape from the punishments. Though he finds the school life miserable, the arrival of Becky Thatcher makes him happy. That happiness does not last long as Becky falls sick and stops coming to school. And this disturbed Tom and he became very unhappy. He is very unhappy to go to school, so he is feeling very lonely and isolated himself. The charm of his life was gone. There was nothing but boredom left. That is, he feel everything very boring. He put his hoop, here you see the hoop, and his bat away. There was no joy in them anymore, and so Aunt Polly was very much concerned. What do you mean by charm? Attracting people. Hoop, one he used to play with. She was in Aunt Polly somehow wanted to give Tom a very good life. She was more interested in this boy's life. She felt that this boy should not feel lonely, and she tried many things on him to make him happy. She was a person who was infatuated with patent medicines and all new methods of producing health or mending it. She was an incurable experimenter in these things, and she started experimenting all this on Tom. What did she do? She tried all kinds of treatments on Tom to make him cheerful again, but to no avail. She tries medicine and new ways of producing or mending it. The first remedy Aunt made was, she tried on Tom was the water treatment. She stood him up in the woodshed and drowned him in the cold water. Then she scrubbed him down with a towel like a file. Then she rolled him up in a wet sheet and put him away under blankets till he sweated his soul clean. Aunt Polly began to assist the water with oatmeal diet. When she heard of painkiller, she ordered a lot at once. She tasted it and it was simply fire in a liquid form. She gave Tom a teaspoonful of painkiller and watched with anxiety for the result. The boy could not withstand all this. The boy grew more and more sad and pale and dejected. She added hot baths, shower baths, and plunges. But nothing could change. What do you mean by pale? Light in color or shade? Dejected, depressed. Plunge means dive into water. And she even began to assist the water with a slim oatmeal diet. He became very fed up and he wanted to get relief from all this, and he tried various plants. And finally, it hit upon professing to be fond of painkiller. And this boy started to become addict on this, and he asked auntie to give it very often, which she thought was a real nuisance, and asked the boy to help himself. So what is nuisance? Thing causing inconvenience or annoyance. Now she found, after some days, the Aunt Polly found that the medicines began to diminish. But it did not occur to her that the boy was mending the health of a crack in the sitting room floor with it. One day, it so happened that Tom was in the act of dosing the crack when his aunt's cat Peter came along with a teaspoon greedily and begging for a taste. The cat arrives and almost begs Tom for the medicine to taste it. Tom says, "Don't ask for it unless you want it, Peter." Peter is the name of the cat. But Peter signified that he did want it. "You better make sure," Tom is telling Peter. And Peter was quite sure that she wanted the medicine. "Now you have asked for it and I'll give it to you because there ain't anything mean about me. But if you find you don't like it, you mustn't blame anybody but your own self." So Tom is telling this to the cat. Peter was agreeable. So Tom, what did he do? He opened the cat's mouth and poured down the painkiller. Peter sprang a couple of yards in the air and then delivered a war whoop and set off round and round the room. Why do you think he went like this? Yes, the painkiller made him started doing its work. It went banging against furniture, upsetting flower pots and making general confusion. Now see, you can see the cat dancing. Now he rose on his hind feet and danced around in a frenzy of enjoyment with his head over his shoulder and his voice proclaiming his happiness. What do you mean by frenzy? Uncontrolled excitement, wild behavior. Then he went tearing around the house, again spreading chaos and destruction in his path. What do you mean by chaos? Complete disorder and confusion. Aunt Polly entered in time to see him throw a few double somersaults, deliver a final mighty hooray. Now you can see somersaults by the cat. Looks funny, is it? And sailed through the open window, carrying the rest of the flower pots with him. So it was not in a normal state. The old lady stood petrified. What do you mean by petrified? Frightened, terrified, with astonishment, peering over her glasses. Tom lay on the floor, expiring with laughter. Look at the way Tom is laughing. "Tom, what on earth ails that cat?" she's asking. "Tom, I don't know," Aunt gasped the boy. "Why, I never see anything like it. What made this cat act like this?" He's telling, "I don't know, Aunt Polly. Cats always act so when they are having a very good time. When they are in good mood, they will do all this," he says. "They do they?" There was something in the tone of that Tom. This made Tom apprehensive. Apprehensive means fearful that something bad or unpleasant will happen. "Yes, that is, I believe they do." "You do?" "Yes." The old lady bent down and she found out and took the teaspoon and held it out. And she found out that the painkiller was given to the cat, and that's why it acted like that. Aunt Polly raised him by the usual handle, his ears, and cracked his head soundly with a thimble. It is a small metal plastic cap with closed ends. Now, sir, why did you want to treat that poor dumb beast so far? I done it out of pity for him because he hadn't any. And Polly felt a sudden painful regret. This was putting the thing in a new light. What was cruelty to a cat might be cruelty to a boy too. She scolds him for being so cruel to the cat, for which he answers, the cat doesn't have an aunt to take care of it. And that is why he had given the medicine out of pity. And Polly suddenly realizes that if the cat would feel so miserable after taking a small sip of the medicine, how the boy must be feeling. Then she began to soften. She felt sorry. Her eyes watered a little, and she put her hand on Tom's head and said gently, I was meaning for the best, Tom, and now it did do you good. Tom looked up in her face with just a recognizable twinkle peeping through his gravity. Suddenly realized that if the cat would feel so much miserable after taking a small sip of the medicine, how Tom must be feeling. Then I made Tom understand that I was only doing the best for Tom. Tom replied that he too was only trying to do the best for the cat, and I finally said that I wouldn't try any more medicines on him. I know you were meaning the best, auntie, and so I was with Peter. It done him good too. I never see him around so since. Oh, go along with you, Tom, before you annoy me again. And you try and see if you can't be a good boy for once, and you needn't take any more medicine. So if he's not naughty, if he's not lonely, she would not have tried all this medicine. So she's telling him to be a good boy rather. So here we come to the end of this story. And here we come to the end of this supplementary reading. Children, there is a Kahoot and a test given for you. Please attend that and learn joyfully. God bless you.